The pink chatterbait really did surprise me. I was not anticipating catching as many big fish as we did on this. Oh my gosh, it's a big one. It's a big one. Like many of you, I watched Lee Livesay absolutely crack a bag on this bait right here, the pink chatterbait, during the Bassmaster Classic this year. It was the first and only time in my entire life that I watched a Bassmaster Elite Series tournament, saw a pro crack him on a bait, and immediately went out and purchased a couple of them. Of course, the idea of a video popped in my head. I, thought about making one of these things for you guys because it's kind of a funky bait, something I, wanted to give a go just because of that. But the other main reason is I am a super stubborn bass fisherman when it comes to the color of the baits that I throw. And this is one of the goofiest things I've seen actually work in a tournament where someone's actually throwing them, not for some YouTube challenge type video, but a Bassmaster Elite Series Pro thought that that was going to be his best chance at winning a Bassmaster Classic. And that is something that absolutely blew my mind, which is the reason that I had to pick some of these things up. I typically don't buy into the hype of like a million different colorways that all these bait companies make. I use maybe 3 or 4 soft plastic colors, a couple different ones for bottom baits, a couple different ones for, minnow imitators like swim baits or chatterbait, swim jig type deal. So this is something I would never throw. It would never be part of my arsenal. I fish 30, 40 tournaments a year. This is not something that would be in my tackle box ever in my life. So today we are gonna see if this is actually something worth putting in your tackle box. Are we gonna catch fish on this? Is it gonna be better than, a typical chartreuse and white, green pumpkin, black and blue that I would throw? Or was this something really specific to Lee Livesay? Was it something really specific to the lake that they were on? Maybe something that he was just really confident in too, which is one of the most important things in bass fishing. So I'm a skeptic. We're gonna put this to the test, see if we can catch a couple bass, and this lake has got some big ones in it. So hopefully we could stick a few that are, 3, 4, 5 pounds. I don't know what's gonna happen today, but if this pink chatterbait's as good as it was looking in that Bassmaster Classic, some really nice things might happen. We are gonna get right into the fishing. We've got a Zoom Super Salt Plus Shimmer Shad and purple smoke on the back there. It looks really nice. If you're into throwing pink chatterbaits, this bad boy right here looks like something you'd want to tie on. So we're gonna be moving down the bank. Fish here, water temperature is just about 60 degrees. They're getting ready to spawn. There's some of the lakes and some of the back channels and stuff. Fish are already starting to do their thing. This one is, not really any backwaters or anything like that we could fish. So I'm assuming the whole lake's gonna be about the same temp, probably about 90 to 95% pre-spawn fish. So should be some big old fat mamas for us to wrangle into, but this chatterbait should be a deal. Like I said, we're really testing the color. I know a chatterbait right now would be absolutely killer out here. I just don't know if this pink one's gonna do the trick or not. Oh, one literally, dude, first cast. Okay. I don't want to get too excited, but literally first cast, like a 1.5 pounder just followed it all the way to the boat. We don't want that first fish curse in the boat, but first cast, one almost ate it. That's about as good as it gets. It really does look good in the water too. I mean, a jackhammer is one of my go-to baits in the springtime, as it is probably for many of you as well. But this thing does look pretty cool in clear water. We've got probably about 3 to 4 foot of visibility, and this thing stands out. Right now I'm just kind of alternating. I'm taking a cast out here, cast up there, cast way out there. There's kind of grass all out in the deeper water over here, a lot of submergent vegetation. And then obviously, these fish are starting to push towards that bank, getting ready to spawn too. So trying to get our first little clue of where these fish are set up, get that first bite of the day. Obviously we did have that one little follow, but trying to figure out if these fish are going to be kind of in that mid water depth, like 4 to 6 foot of water, or if they're really starting to push up here. But getting a little bit concerned. We've been fishing for about 10 minutes and have not got a bite yet, other than that one little bass that we saw almost nip the tail. So typically by now, I feel like I would have caught like a 2 pounder or something on a regular chatterbait. There we go. There we go. Finally. Oh, and it's a freaking good one too. It's a freaking good one on that pink chatterbait. It's a big one, boys and girls. She was up shallow. Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one. Please don't get off. Please don't do it to us. Don't do it to us. Don't do it to us. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. There we go, boys and girls. That's how we start out this little pink chatterbait experiment. Good one. She looks post-spawn as heck though. I don't know, maybe they've already spawned in here. She should be like almost a 4 pounder, but I bet she's barely 3. She's got the big old head on her. Got that pink chatterbait right in the roof of her mouth. She might be guarding fry or something up there. Very first bite of the day right there. We've got that pink jackhammer right in the roof of her mouth. So it has been, like I said, a little bit longer than I would have expected for the first bite, but the first bite is a good one. Pink chatterbait on there. Probably about like a 3-pounder, give or take. Like I said, she's got the head in the mouth of a much bigger bass, but she looks post-spawn. So we might be fishing for a post-spawn fish. I really don't know. We're gonna have to catch a few more to kind of figure out what's going on, but beautiful bass. Gonna get her back in the water. One thing I forgot to mention, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Helps out the channel a ton. Like I said, gonna be posting a lot more on this channel. So let's get her back in the water. First fish of the day. Beautiful bass. There she goes. All right, let's catch some more. Just got my trailer a little bit messed up, but not too bad. We should be able to get another fish or two at least out of her. All right, I was getting a little bit worried. It had been a while. We had not been getting any bites at all. We got our first little clue to the puzzle, and she came up pretty close to the dang bank right there and looked like a post-spawn fish. So catch a few more, and we'll have a much better idea of what's going on. I cannot believe that we're not getting bit up in these pad stems. It's honestly not looking very good for the pink chatterbait. I think that we should have caught like a half a dozen fish by now at least. Of course I say that and then get bit. Oh, we're not getting them in the pad stems and we're not catching enough on this thing, and then immediately, it's like friggin' clockwork. We're out here, little like 13-incher or so. Not great, but yeah, that is fish number 2. We've been fishing probably for about 20, 25 minutes at least. So I don't know, not like a terribly long time, but it is one of the best times to fish up in this area. We should be catching a lot more. And so far the pink chatterbait is not showing out too well for us. I do have hope. It might just be that we're not in the most productive area, but like this looks so good right here. I just feel like we should be getting bit almost every other freaking cast. I don't know, can't tell quite yet if it's the pink chatterbait or maybe just a lousier day or not the best area, but 2 fish in the boat. Not too bad, not complaining. Just was expecting a little bit more after seeing Lee absolutely freaking dump on him with this thing. Oh, there we go. It's a good one. There's a good one. Dude, they're listening. They're listening. They're like, we're here. We're here. How big are you? Oh no, oh no, oh no. She's a good one. She's not crazy big. Come here, come here. Come here. Come up in here. She looks post-spawn too. They might be fully post-spawn. That's insane. But that's a good two-ish pounder. She was up there in those pad stems. Let me just spot lock us here real quick. Beautiful bass on that pink chatterbait. Okay, so like I said, it should be almost every other cast. And right there, we just had, you know, maybe 3 casts, caught 2 fish. So that's what I'm expecting. Maybe we're getting into a better area. Maybe there is still some hope for this pink chatterbait. Beautiful fish. Gonna get her back in the water. There she goes. So 2 bites, back to back, up in these pad stems. Like I said, there's really not very many pads in the lake. We had these 2 like kind of smaller isolated clumps, and then we got a pretty decent sized little field right there, and that is it. If they're really keying in on the pad stems, this is about all we got. We're gonna hopefully catch a few more here or right up in front of us there. Of course, this swan's gonna go swim through all the stuff. Does anyone else feel like that too? This is a personal vendetta of mine. One of my biggest pet peeves when I fish, and I have no idea if it makes a difference. So in the comments down below, tell me what you think. When a bird, like a big swan or, you know, a goose or duck or whatever, especially if you're fishing up shallow around docks, up in lily pads, do you think that that affects the fish? Like, do they care? I mean, obviously there's birds around all the time, so maybe they're pretty used to it. But for me, like if I'm fishing in, you know, 2 foot of water and a giant swan just pummels over the top of the largemouth that I'm fishing after, I feel like it makes a difference. But what do you guys think? That is one of my biggest pet peeves on the water out of all the things. Oh, gosh dang. That one I only gave it like a half a turn and she was on there. Well, the swan didn't swim up there, so we can't say that that was not a factor for sure. She was more in this middle channel. This fish was over here. So if we catch one over here though, it'll help prove my point wrong. But another decent one, like a 14, 15-incher. Probably a nice male up there getting ready to do his thing. Or like I said, I guess I'm still trying to figure out what stage they're in, but probably a decent little buck bass right there. She wanted it. Fish number 4 on that pink chatterbait. And we are starting to get into them a little bit, so we might just be getting into a better area. I just couldn't believe that whole first stretch that we fished. We got like 1 bite in 20 minutes, and now, oh, see, that one I slipped off the freaking reel handle. Now we're getting bit. There he is. There he is. Man, all these shallow pads, they've got them. I've been fishing the outer edge and not catching anything. Gosh, I'm falling backwards. Oh my gosh, it's a big one. It's a big one. We're gonna have to net her too. Come here. No, 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 no. Yes, sir. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's amateur hour. I almost fell backwards off the step, and then I almost fall backwards off the boat. I wasn't expecting it to be that big is the problem. Gosh dang, it's friggin' Sally. She got the pink chatterbait, dude. That's 2 freaking nice ones on that pink chatterbait. What is that, fish number 5? That's like a, man, probably almost a 4-pounder or something. I might have to put that one on the scale just to see. Let me spot lock us here, because there might be a couple more up in here. But I've been picking apart all these deeper pads, nothing. And then, you know, you guys watch, we caught like 4 or so out of the pads that were all up in that really shallow area. Boys and girls, that is an absolute Michigan unit on that pink chatterbait. First really good bite of the day. That first one was solid. She looked kind of post-spawn. This one, she's got a little bit of meat left to her, but man, I really do think a lot of these fish are either actively spawning or post-spawn, which is wild to me. We're gonna toss her on the scale really quick, just for fun. Oh yeah, 4.03. I don't know what all you guys can see on that thing, but a 4-pounder. That's a freaking nice, big old springtime Michigan bass right there. We're gonna get her back in the water, hopefully catch a few more just like her, but that is awesome. Beginning of this video, I was, like I said, getting a little bit concerned. I didn't know if the pink chatterbait was gonna do the trick or not. We weren't getting as many bites as I thought we should be, but it kind of turned around on us. Kind of turned around, kind of doing something to him now. Here she goes. Oh, she might jump. She's gonna do it to us. Let's go. All right, let's try to catch a couple more right over there. We are gonna retie before we make another cast. You guys, I don't know what you could see on the camera, but there are tiny little abrasions in this line. Even though we're not fishing around rocks or, you know, lay downs too much or anything like that, nothing really hard that you would think would scratch up your line pretty good. Even these pad stems, especially when you're, you know, tugging on a 4-pounder through there, they could start to cut you up quite a bit. So I saw a couple little abrasions there. Want to make sure if we do stick into a 5 or a 6 or some sort of Michigan freak that we're not going to snap her off. Even like a 3 or 4-pounder, we don't want to lose anything. So this bait also costs like $15 or $16, and she is working pretty good. So we want to make sure that we keep her in the boat and keep her in a bass's mouth as much as we possibly can. There he is, little guy. Oh no, we go from a 4-pounder to that thing. Well, you know, you got to catch them all. You got to take the good with the bad, the small with the big. Thinker, but still fun. I'll leave a couple for you. Really? People are keeping them? Really? Yeah, it is sad. Yeah, I've caught a couple decent ones. I caught like a 4-pounder and a 3-pounder, but the numbers are down a little bit, I would say, though, honestly. I got you. Yeah, that's no good. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you. Well, boys and girls, we just fished up this entire bank over there. I think that we're gonna make a move. There's one more spot with lily pads that I think they might really be congregated, so we're gonna go try to fish that, try to catch a couple more. But we just had that conversation with the homeowner. He said that people have been catching a lot less bass out here because some people have been keeping a bunch of them. And I do believe that because it seems like the numbers are way down. Like I mentioned, I thought we should have caught more, especially up that first bank that we started on. And we just didn't get into very many numbers like I usually do. And, you know, being the spring and everything, it should be really, really good. So it seems like the ones that are, you know, wanting to eat this pink chatterbait are really keying in on it. So I don't think that they don't like this thing or something like that. I think there might just be less bass in here. So we just have to be in those really high percentage areas. We're gonna go try to fish some more pads and see if we can pull another big 1 or 2 out of here. Hopefully we're back around some bass actually now. We need to catch another big one. Whoa. Oh. You gotta be kidding me. We just broke off. I mean, I did put quite a bit of pressure on that thing. I see a huge nick in my line up here too. I don't know where that's coming from, but usually when you pull on a pad stem, it'll pop off there. That must have been a real strong pad. I do have a backup pink chatterbait, luckily, but that is wild. I did not think that that was gonna happen. I was getting really worried there at the end of that tug. I was like, man, this is pulling pretty hard. And then sure enough, she just broke. But we're gonna put on the new one. That is why I got 2 of them. Yeah, I'm really starting to believe that guy. There just doesn't seem to be very many fish out here. There's all this beautiful submergent vegetation. I really come back to this and picked it apart because I'm like, hey, maybe we kind of went down the wrong little rabbit hole. We got that bite pretty early, really, really shallow. Thought that was going to be the deal. Caught quite a few doing it back to back to back, but then it was nothing. Came out here, got bit instantly, but it was pretty small, so I wasn't like, oh man, we're friggin' at them. But I thought we'd get more bites out here. I just can't believe it. Doesn't really seem to be a shallow bite. Doesn't really seem to be that little offshore grass bite. This lake's not deep at all. I mean, there's no like deep stuff we could really go hit, and they shouldn't be out there anyway with the water being like 62, 63 degrees. So I don't know. I'm gonna kind of go fish the tips of these pads over here, see if maybe, you know, I didn't really give that too much attention. Like I said, I was getting most of them way up in there. I'm gonna go pick that apart here in a sec. The pink chatterbait really did surprise me. I was not anticipating catching as many big fish as we did on this. Obviously they weren't giants, but for Michigan standards, they were pretty solid bass. I mean, a 4-pounder up here is a pretty big one. It takes them like 10 years to get that big. So it did pretty good. We didn't catch a ton of fish today. I do think that after talking to that homeowner, he did say that, you know, numbers were down in here. I think that was the main issue. We just weren't seeing a lot of fish because the ones that were eating this thing were definitely eating it. I think that we just don't have a lot of bass left in this lake. So pink chatterbait, pretty solid bait. Would I throw it again? I think I might try it. I don't think it's something I would drop in my arsenal right now and start fishing it over like a chartreuse and white, green pumpkin, black and blue, some of those traditional chatterbait colors, but I think it does deserve some more experimentation. As you guys saw with Lee Livesay, he freaking smoked him in the Bassmaster Classic, and the amount of confidence that you need to have in a bait to throw it in the Bassmaster Classic is at an all-time high. So the fact that he felt that good about it makes me feel a little bit better about it too. That's the number one thing when it comes to colors or baits that you're throwing or even the area that you're fishing, is you need to have confidence in what you're doing. If you don't have any confidence in what you're doing, you're not going to get bit on those baits. That's the number one thing that I strive for out in the water, is I need to feel like there's a 5-pounder behind my bait at all times. That's what I try to have in the back of my head at all times, is any single cast, any single moment, a giant bass is going to eat it. So I try to do that today with the pink chatterbait. I think it worked out pretty well. We caught quite a few fish on it, got some good ones. Thank you guys for watching. If you're not already subscribed, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button, but I will catch you guys in the next video.